What's cracking? How are you guys? What's poppin', fam? What's How's everyone doing? The fam is here. What is poppin'? I had to replace my white cable. Happy Pride! That's right, thanks for the reminder. Happy Pride, fam. Give me 1 second. My cable has officially died. My white cable has officially died. It's very sad. But I'd rather be able to touch my microphone and not drive you guys crazy. So, alas. In the basura. Moving some things around. Okay. Just when I thought I tidied up my desk, the lie detector test determined that was a lie. Look at David Hunt coming through. The moderator skills right there. Oh, I never moved that back up. That's okay. There you go. David is getting ready to assist with all the things. Mr. Camera Junkie, what is poppin'? How are you? Purple Paisley Planner. Hey girl, hey, how are you? All right, appreciate you. It's okay. I know you cannot resist, my good friend. Let's keep that off. All right. Let's bring this over this way. What is cracking? Happy first day of Pride. I'm looking around because let me do this. So let's come over this way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Nope, we don't want that. Let's go to previous scene. Let's come over here. And someone got a new toy. And so I keep it up here on the wall. But because you have to have. I have flags upstairs. But I mean, happy Pride, you guys. I guess I'll keep this within arm's reach for the month. I don't know where for now. What do? I'll put this over here. Over here somewhere. All right. All right, it's kind of looking kind of dark over here. And the reason why it's looking kind of dark, I was getting the systems ready. All systems go. I was getting the systems ready for the overhead camera so we can continue our Lumafusion tutorial. Let's see. I just replaced my cable because the white cable. If you guys were on the stream yesterday, you saw that the cable, every time I touched the bottom of it, it made a crazy static sound and it was horrible. I was trying so hard, but unfortunately. All right, let's see. Paul is here. Paul, my good friend, got a question for India or Doc. Remember. Oh, look, there you go. What happened? What? Your question should look like this with a Q colon in front of it. Otherwise, it is just a comment. Don't forget to hit that like button. Yes. Hey, girl. Hey, how are you? Yes, happy Pride. You guys are saying hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? So I didn't do anything special. I don't have really anything special. They wanted me to go to a Pride event for tomorrow up in Jersey City, which is about an hour, almost 2 hours away from me. I said no. And I said no because it is at 6 o'clock and it's kind of like it's a bar thing. And the problem is, and not that I'm a stick in the mud, but I'm not trying to be at a bar celebrating Pride at 2 hours away from me. And I have to take the turnpike all the way home about 80 miles away. It would be different if it were in central Jersey by Asbury Park, which is probably about 45 minutes. Then I would show up. However, not for 2 hours. So, and I don't, you know, guys, I don't do the parade thing. That's too many people for me. I don't know. I've done the parade when I worked for TD Bank. So you East Coasters and you Canadians know TD Bank because that is a Canadian-based bank and they have branches from Maine to Florida. So I did work for TD Bank for quite some time. And Pride in New York City is a huge thing. And we always, there was one year where they were, what is it? The Marshal, the Grand Marshal, TD Bank was the Grand Marshal. They always get a float. And so you can volunteer. And so I have walked in the New York City Pride, which is a lot of walking. And they give you bags and you got to give goodies out. So like all those flags and all that stuff, like you got to throw it out and the chains and the beads and all of that. Imagine carrying with the satchels, the bags, with just throwing shit out from like 34th Street, 42nd, actually, we would meet in 42nd Street by Grand Central and then walk all the way down to the Village, which is West 4th. Now, for those of you guys that have been in New York City blocks, Manhattan, New York City blocks are no joke. So imagine walking from the east side, because then you have to go from the east side, which is starts from, let's say, 5th Avenue down towards Lexington, Madison, Park Ave, like down. So going from 42nd Street and the east side all the way down 5th Avenue to, I'm thinking it's like, it's so all the way down to West. So you take 5th Avenue all the way down to wherever the parks are. So you guys will know the park because it is the park that Friends, where those arches are that with the fountain that they sit in. That's, oh, I forget the name of it. Oh, I'm not a New Yorker anymore. Don't yell at me. Paul's like, I'm behind, so I'm just gonna, there you go. But we walk down to that park on 5th Avenue. I want to say it's like West 8th Street. It's around West 8th Street. Or 8th Street, go around the park, go all the way down, get down to West 4th Street and end right at Christopher Street or right before Christopher Street. Listen, that's mad blocks. I say all of that to say that is mad blocks. It is in the middle of in June. It be mad hot. You're carrying mad heavy bags, giving stuff away. But at least I'm not stuck in a crowd. I have my space because I'm walking. So you get your space. I'm not like squished and pushing and that I will not do. So I don't know what plans Angie and I have for Pride. We'll figure it out, I guess. Well, Philly does something. Philly has I am looking forward to Philly's Pride, their Pride parade. But that is in September. They like close out. So Miami opens up Pride year. And I don't know for this year, but the previous years, it starts in like April. And Miami's one of the first ones to start the Pride parades. I know that San Francisco and New York are both in June. And then throughout, the different popular countries, they'll have their Pride throughout the year from April ending all the way in like September. And Philly's one of the last ones. So, Sammy Superstar, what is cracking? How are you doing today? Let me lower that a little bit. Sorry, guys. All right, all right, all right. So we're going to do what we do. We're going to do our continuation of our Lumafusion. So I did move some. Atlanta is in September because it's too hot now. Oh, that makes sense. I guess that makes sense why they would also start in Miami in April. But like Philly, we're just, I mean, I don't know, whatever. But I know that it is spread out. So I'll probably do something for Philly Pride since it's here. This is where I live. I'm a Philadelphian now. But I digress. So I moved around my Elgato Flex arm. I did some things for a little bit better placement. I'm actually happier. I feel like I tell you guys that once every 2 weeks as I'm adjusting things. So let's go back to this here. Here. Over here. Koa got a new toy. So you can see now my mat is centered a little bit better. And you can see more of the screen. Before, the camera was like right over here. And it was like from here down. So I had to switch around some of my arms on the Elgato multi-mount. I swapped some arms around. And then if I'm sitting in the middle of my desk, so where we're looking at right now, I'm in the middle of my desk. I don't have to move. This is the middle of the desk from the overhead shot. The only thing I have to move around is the camera, is the microphone, depending on the placement of the angle. This still stays the same, so you can see, right? So now here is the camera, so it's literally right in the middle of my screen. Prior, I had the camera kind of like right over here, so it was only taking up a quarter, and I had to like shimmy down. So I moved around that stuff. Then I readjusted the placement of my iPhone, which is right over here. So that's this bad boy here, which is good because then technically I can, and let's just turn on the light here. And without moving my chair, I'm pretty much in the center of almost every single camera. So that's good. So then when we come here, right, I can just look here. I can talk to you guys, have the conversation this way. And let me see, let me do this. There you go. Because then what we are going to do is, and let's bring the camera. There you go. Camera's in view there so you guys can see the iPad a little bit better. And I am going to bring in, turn on NDI. Atlanta's going to be in October. Ooh. That's long. Like, to start and end the seasons, it's a really long time. All right. Let's come back over here. And now, if I turn off, there you go. So turning off, because I have a monitor light. Let me bring in my, let me switch. Okay, cool. So now we are a little bit better with the angles for me. It's just less moving. And like I said, I can make quick eye contact here. And my chair, I'm not like sliding my chair all over the place. I just have to kind of just swivel and everything is centered. So enjoying that. All right, let's see. So let me see. We can zoom out a little bit. All right, so now you can see the iPad. And the iPad that I have in view, I just want you guys to take a look. Like, so as I'm doing things with the mouse, you guys can see it a little bit better. So if I want to drag along the timeline, you can see how it's dragged, you know, how I use the Apple Pencil to drag along the timeline, and just have the visual representation on the screen there. So how we'll start off now today is we'll go back and we're going to kind of look over the preferences really quick because I did not look at the preferences. Yes, this is, so listen, I feel like, so we can go into that. Thanks, Paul. So we'll go into this previous scene. I don't know what it is. Let's go here and let's come back over here and let's turn on the light a little bit. But the quality, I feel like every time I turn the camera on, I'm like more and more amazed at the top down shot. of the quality of the Elgato face cam. It's a pretty good mic, pretty good camera. All right, let's come back. Let's come back over here. So that's why I turned off, so you can see, let's come back. That's why I turned off the monitor bar, because it gives a little bit of the glare on the screen, where now if I turn the monitor bar off, you can see the iPad a little bit better. I don't know. So I'll leave it off for this particular setup here. Very good, very good. All right. So just to kind of recap, we went over projects yesterday, creating a new project. On the left-hand side, you can see you have your audio levels. And so as I touch the screen, you'll see the blue touches on the iPad software itself. So you can see over here, you can control the audio levels for the particular tracks, each particular audio track that you want. We can move using our Apple Pencil, the timeline up and down. We can pinch out to make the timeline longer or smaller. On the left-hand side are all of the linked folders that we can review if you want. So now I'm specifically in the Samsung folder. Here are my linked folders. And then we talked about, right at the end of the stream, we talked about the view itself. So if you drag the handles, it looks like an upside down T, right? You can just see if I wanted to just show more of the video on top, or if I wanted to show more of the folder. We can just mess around with the settings there. I'm actually going to leave it kind of like this way, and then just go into settings very briefly. And I hit the little gear icon on the lower right hand corner. You can see it brought up the settings on the screen. And then you have your basic settings, right? So your basic settings you have, and let me make this a little bit bigger on my screen. Perfect. Now I can actually see this. All right, very good. Good to go. All right. So our initial tab is the settings. So it's giving you your current project settings. So you can see the frame rate, and that's because I recorded these clips were brought in from my GoPro camera, which I set to 60 frames per second. And that's because I'm moving around, usually on the bike. If I'm recording the dogs, right? Like that's faster stuff that I'm doing. So the default that I set on my GoPro is going to be for 60 frames per second, because I know that most of the footage that I'll be taking using my GoPro will be on more action style, quick style stuff. So, hey girl, hey, how are you doing today? Thank you for coming through. I missed the birthday party for Mackenzie. I'm a little sad. I hope you told her that I was sad. And let's come over here. Let's say hello to everybody. Did that work? It didn't work. Well, okay. So the aspect ratio, you can see here that I selected the aspect ratio for 9:16 portrait, because we're going to make this to put this on an Instagram reel. I can change that if I want. So if I decided to go ahead and after I created the project, if I decided to change this to then be a regular 16:9 video, we can just change that here for this current project. So it should, now there you go, right? So you can see, I said, you know what? I no longer want to do a reel or do a YouTube short. I actually want to make this into a full blown video. It's no big deal. You can just go into your settings and switch just that easily. And then your settings that we did all stay the same. And then if you wanted to, let's see what else here do I want. I don't mess around with the clip defaults. That I leave the same, the particular clip defaults. If you did want to mess around with the ducking, you can change that. I don't mess around with that neither, because usually it's just me. That's if you want to have multiple people, or not if you want to, if you have multiple people in audio where you want to kind of have, when one video file starts, maybe it's sound, as the sound comes in and as you want to lower the volume, just have the second line duck. You can mess around with those settings there. That's what your ducking is. If we go into our preferences tab, these are for new projects. So these are going to be your defaults when you start to do new projects, right? So you can see I have it for frame rate 30 frames. And that's because although my GoPro footage that I record is using 60 frames per second. When I am editing, right, when I'm actually doing I won't be editing too many GoPro files. I'll be editing more files that I'm recording using Ecamm, that I'm recording using one of my cameras here. And that I shoot in 30 frames per second. So that's my default for new projects. My aspect ratio is default for 16:9. Here you can change the amount of project backups that you want to keep. I also have turned on adjust based on first video clip added. So like that, when I am bringing in that GoPro footage, I don't have to worry about changing it. It's gonna simultaneously, right? It's gonna be smart, not simultaneous, but it's gonna be smart. Intuitively say, oh, okay, this first file that you brought in is 60 frames per second. So that's how we're gonna make that video, that project there. I turned the show touches on. So if you ever were going to do demos, I'm going to turn it off now, right? And now you can see I'm touching the screen using my Apple mouse, but then it's not showing up on the actual demo for you guys. So normally I do have that turned off, but because I've been doing these project demos and I want you guys to follow along the screen, it shows up there. What else is on here? You absolutely want to come in, if you have not done this already and you are using Lumafusion or you're going to start using Lumafusion, you want to absolutely come into your external drive editing and turn on, I don't want to turn off, cancel, preferences, and make sure that you have external drive editing turned on over there. Go back. All right. Preview, I leave it on good. You can change. So that's this middle screen up on top where it shows you. So if I wanted to show the preview, ooh, that's loud. Let's bring this down. Okay. That's your preview, the quality that it's going to give it to you. And that's because it's rendering, right? So when you have your rendering files, if you wanted to show a better quality preview, then it's going to take longer. So depending on how quickly you want your project to be done, you can choose, let's go back to that. Under preferences, and we can change that setting for fastest, which the quality is not going to be the great. It's going to kind of look grainy and things like that. But if you're not worried because you know that you shot in 4K footage and you know that the footage itself is really good, you just want to be able to, you like that face, Paul? That face is the face of a sneaky guy is what that face is. He's sneaky. He gets you. And then he bites your ankles because he absolutely is an ankle biter. Anyway, so with your preview, depending on how you want, you can choose one of these, or if you want to really see the video preview for what it's going to look like on the finished project, then choose best. But then what's going to happen is it's going to take longer to render and things like that. I leave it on good. I guess I would say if I were to give a recommendation, I would tell you to do either balanced or good. I've honestly never changed the settings. I've left it on good and it works very well for where we at. What else is on here? And then the snapshot images, we spoke about that yesterday, where if let's say I wanted to take, so here's a good example. Let's say, so now we're going to go through because I do have a clip. Do I have the both of them? I thought I had the both of them kind of side by side. So maybe in the beginning, this clip over here. So let's say I want to use this one here as the thumbnail. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this up arrow and you can see snapshot. And now what that's going to do is that created a thumbnail for me that if I want to use that as the cover picture, it created the snapshot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch scenes very quickly because I want to make sure when I show you guys, I don't want you guys to see what I have in my photos because, you know, not that I have anything crazy, but I might have stuff crazy. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I might have some crazy stuff. So I got to make sure. All right, let's go back. I don't have anything crazy. You going to see all my crazy? I don't have crazy. Here's my crazy. Lots of pictures of Koa and snapshots and things like that. Bike stuff. So nothing crazy. But here's the video, the thumbnail that we just created. using that up button there. So now if I want to use that particular thumbnail and edit that as a cover, well, let's go back. That's what the settings are. If we go back to preferences, you have your snapshot. You can choose either to save it in a PNG or you can save to as a JPEG. I leave it as PNG because if, let's say, I wanted to like send it up to Canva and do some editing or anything like that, it's just easier, better quality. I like PNG for that type of stuff. And if you use Frame.io, you can link your account, and that's like for different Frame.io. I believe it's like stock images, and it's something I forget. We're gonna leave it like that, and I'm not gonna make any assumptions. So we have our preferences, cleaning up. So if I wanted to clean up temporary files, here you can see right now it gives me all of my information. So my imported media right now, I have 2.69 in use reversed media, 200 kilobytes. Why did I say kilograms? Kilobytes. And then if you have stuff that's like a gig and stuff, you definitely want to make sure that you come into here and you clean up your files, your caches and things like that. I try to do this often enough so it's not using up space. I don't worry too much because my iPad is 256 gigs. But if you have an iPad with like 128 gigs or even worse, less memory, you absolutely need to make sure that you're paying attention to this type of stuff. And then obviously, you know what help does. Help just gives you some help references. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that I went over that today. Guys, I just bought her this. Literally. I literally just bought her this 5 hours, not even 45 minutes ago. I went to the store at 6:30. This is not heavy duty for her. Well, what's going to happen now? I can't let you have this because you're going to eat this. And don't make noises at me. Do you see this? So now I'm trying to break this. Koa, I don't even know. I can't. Okay. Here. Go get it. All right. Here are the 3 pieces. Let me come back. The 3 pieces that she broke from the toy that she's had for less than 20 minutes. Hey, Eric, how are you? Hey, Gabe. Hey, K-Walk. Hey, how are you guys? All right, you saw me fighting with Koa because she drives me crazy. Okay. So yesterday we went over bringing in files from the top and into like the brackets so that we're only bringing in a specific section of a video file. I showed you guys how you can go ahead and go through files and kind of clip through the garbage to get rid of different files. We moved files around. We brought in a music file over here. And so now today, what I said what we were going to do is we're going to start to bring in some transitions and overlays and things like that. So let's start to bring in transitions in between each of these clips. So you see between here and here, I want to bring in a transition, and you got all of these types, all of these little files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the upper left-hand corner, and can see I clicked on, it looks like a little file icon over here in the upper left-hand corner. I clicked on that. And then on the very bottom, we have transitions. And so now you have, these are basic transitions that come with Lumafusion itself, cross dissolve. And if you wanted to see a demo, you can click on it and it's going to play. Some of them are cool. Some of them are like, the wipe. Do I like the wipe? Nah, those are like kind of, let me see. No. Okay. All right. I'm not going to go too crazy. Push. Oh my God. So corny. All right. So let's say I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to come over here, put the playhead here, and you can see. So what I'm doing is, right, I went to where I want to bring my first transition in, and I'm just going to drag that in right in between the 2 files, right? So you can see here's my transition. I'm just going to drag that in, and you're seeing that it's kind of bringing it in, right? And it's overlapping. So you can place it where you want. I want it to be in between both. So now it adjusted that particular setting. So if we go back, I'm going to double click on the video preview here. And where is my, I lost my sound. There you are. Okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna lower this a little bit. Good. And we're gonna hit play. That was a little laggy. So let's go back. Hit play. There you go. So that was, I mean, it's corny, but you know, it is what it is, right? Let's just go back so we can see that now kind of full screen. And so that's what I was talking about. So that's all right. That's a pretty okay transition. But you saw how when I initially played it the first time, there was a little bit of a lag. That's what I meant about the rendering when we went into the preview where it has balanced, good, fastest, right? So you can see I had it on good instead of balanced. So initially it had that little bit of a lag. It probably was taking those extra seconds to render so that when we went back and we played it again, you can see that it played back smoothly. So if I want to use, let's say those two, I'm going to use those two there. I'm going to drag that, and I'm not going to be too picky, right? Because this is just going to be a quick thing. So I have that same transition in between those two files. Let's double click. I want to bring the playhead a little bit closer, hit play. And now then brought that in. Actually, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to take it out, and I want to slow down right. So this first one that we did was slide down left. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this one under it and then do slide down right so that it comes from the opposite angle. Let's see what that looks like. Come in, hit play. So then it's the opposite end, right? Okay, so now we got two quick transitions. I see, here we go. Good stuff, good stuff. So it can be both. So it is, yeah, short or reel. That's why I did that, right? So I did it in that 9:16 vertical format because it's, you know, of my puppies, my portrait format rather. It's of the pups. And then I'm just going to put it both on, well, I don't really put the dogs on my YouTube channel, so it'll be on Instagram as a reel. So that's what we're kind of doing it for. Do you use any Lumafusion add-ons? If so, which ones do you recommend? So that's a really great question. Rob, let's go. So we're going to take a break, kind of. It's still tutorial stuff. And we are going to do a screen share really quick. Bring this over here. All right. And I need to open up a Chrome window over here. And doom. Rob HK. Why? This defaulted. Why? Okay, that was weird. All right, cool. So this guy, Rob HK, I follow a lot of his stuff here on, he is, let's mute this. I would definitely recommend to follow him. He has great tutorials. He's now doing stuff with like Final Cut and stuff, but he has his own like packages. So if we go in, let's just take a look, you can see. So these are, so what we just saw on screen are his kind of, those are his plugins. I've bought a few different packages, but that's the difference. So let me just go back to his website. 12.9 gives so much more screen space. Anyone in the chat proficient in Lumafusion for the smaller iPad versions? I mean, so K-Walk, I'll be honest with you. I've also done it. So check this out. So let me go back. I'll show you. So here is his website. And what I am going to do. Here we go. So let's do this. Command C. Let me come over here. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Mute. Yes. Good. Boom, shakalaka laka boom. Okay. That I would absolutely recommend his stuff. He has big packages. He has like different individual things. So you can see, right? So there's LUTs, there's text. He has a whole bundle. Oh, he has stuff on sale. The stuff is not always on sale. So the fact that he has this bundle for 20 bucks and then he has these transitions, I would absolutely, if you have the extra cash, because they're not always on sale. Some text transitions. So let's go in, let's go back. Let's go to Lumafusion. Here you can see, and let me see, what do we got? We got shapes. So like, check out this YouTube bundle. And if we go in, what he does is he gives you different things. So you can see there's lower thirds. And where is the video? So look, here is some of his videos, right? He goes over it. So you can see, check this out. Let's go full screen. And look at this on. So this that's coming up, let me turn off this overlay. Give me 1 second. So let me back out real quick so I can turn off the overlay so you guys can see. I have to unlock the scene. Doom, doom, doom. Okay. Well. And play. What did I do here? No. Okay. So go back to full screen. And so you can see, let me go back over here. His lower third that shows up right there. Oh, come on. Close that. Okay, where it says music, I use Epidemic Sound. That is his lower third. So you can see as I go back, I'm going to hit play, right? He shows you how to customize them. You can change the color. So he goes through everything. Those are how he gives you the files here. Come on. There you go. So he's showing you here to what it looks like in Lumafusion. You import the package, right? He's going through the steps. And so you can see, and it just showed up on the screen. It kind of has that little jiggle to it. And that's a cool lower third that you can bring in as a file. But now here's the thing. And this is not a him thing. This is the difference with just the way it is with Lumafusion, kind of like their plugins. Let me escape out so I can pay attention to you guys in the comments. With Lumafusion, with the plugins versus Final Cut Pro plugins. You see on the screen here, let me just open this up on YouTube so this can take the whole thing. Hold on. Can I do that? No, I don't want to do that. All right, so we'll leave it there. So you can see on the screen, look, you can see where my mouse is, that you got all of these blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow. It's a lot of work. It's editing. And so, and that's a software limitation. That's why I said it's not him, it's a software limitation. So he found a way. There's him. There's not a lot of people that have plugins, but he's one of the few creators that found a way that he can create templates for you as a Lumafusion user. And it is fairly easy to customize, but there's still work and there's still a learning curve into it. Now you can see this one video is 24 minutes. So he does go through the work and he shows you how to use it. Just if you're used to having kind of a plug and play plugin from Final Cut Pro, don't expect for it to work the same way, because it absolutely will not work the same way. So that's kind of, and that's why I said it's a Lumafusion thing. It's not a him thing, but I have absolutely supported. I've bought about 4 of his bundles. Yes, you are late, my big brother. What is cracking? How are you? I have absolutely brought his packages. I bought someone else's packages and probably at the same time. And I've kept coming back to him. I'll watch his videos. He has really good stuff. So I would say definitely subscribe to him if you want, if you plan on editing on Lumafusion, if you want to have cool things on there. So if we just go back, so those are the lower thirds. And then you can see he also has like these things here. So let's come back in. Let me see. So like here, right? So let's go to YouTube. Let's bring this in over here. Where are you? Where are you? Right? So he can, and you can see like on the bottom, all of these things that are popping up, the little lower third, the call to actions, get notified, like in the middle, right? So he gives you all of those files. So here's another example of it. Do you see on the screen the red, the red? Look at all of this stuff. Those are all, so he puts the clips together, right? He creates the graphic for you, but then you got to go in to them and the way, and again, I'm going to keep emphasizing because I don't want to knock Rob. He is great and his stuff is quality, right? But what you have to do is you have to go into these files and he shows you how to customize them. And then you have to click, okay, here's a perfect example. So you can see where the playhead is on his screen. He highlighted those 3 files, right? That section right there where it's kind of white, there's 3 boxes. That's a particular, let's say, call to action that he showed you how to customize. And now you want to take that section and then bring that into your video. So not only do you have to customize it yourself, you're going to highlight that particular, because those are like mini projects in one big project. You're going to take that one section that you want to bring, which is kind of this piece here that's on the top of the preview. Then you're going to copy those files and then paste it. It's cumbersome. Now, here's the thing. Final Cut Pro, even if you get it with the education discount, Final Cut Pro is a $200 software where Lumafusion, I think brand new, is $30, right? So you pay for what you get. So if you have a $30 software that you don't want to pay the $200 for Final Cut Pro, or you don't want to pay monthly for like the Adobe package and things like that, and you just want to use the iPad, Lumafusion is a great product. I love it. But then understand that you're going to be putting in more work, right? So it's one of those things that sometimes you pay for convenience. So when you pay for Final Cut Pro, whether you're paying full price or you're paying for the education discount at the cheapest is $200, and then you pay $30 for a plugin, literally it's going to be plug and play, where here you'll buy a bundle, you'll pay $20, but then again, you got to do the work. So just thinking about all of that stuff. Doc, I'm trying to tell people Final Cut Pro, DaVinci, or Premiere are worth the learn. Everything else works, but you spend more time trying to do workarounds versus me. Absolutely. Listen, 100%. So if we go back right to like one of my project files, I've supported him and I've paid for it. I have all of the stuff, but then I rarely use it. Hello. Ecamm apparently quit unexpectedly. Hi guys, Ecamm quit unexpectedly. I took an extra minute to send a diagnostic log to the team before I went live again, because I don't know what happened. All of a sudden the screen just went blank. I got the Apple message that Ecamm quit unexpectedly. All right, I'm back. Well, I'm glad you guys are back. But anyway, what I was saying is that although I've supported him, I rarely use his plugins because they take too much work, right? So for me, I'm still editing. I've taken time to do my recording. Now I'm taking time to do the edits and then to go back. That wasn't, oh, you turned off the auto stop. So did it keep on to the same stream? I don't know how that works, Paul. Thank you for turning that off. I don't know how that works. Tell me. Anyway, so let's just come back. I just wanted to show you guys that definitely, I would say absolutely watch his videos, subscribe to his channel, because he just shows you how to use not Final Cut Pro, shows you how to customize and do things within Lumafusion that you can absolutely learn. So absolutely worthwhile. All right, so we stopped there. Let's go back to, I did want to show, so let me go back to my screen share here. What happened here? Everything went off? Okay, there, I'm back there. And here's the iPad mini, right? So you can see, obviously, look at the screen real estate between the two. This is my iPad mini. Oh, did I uninstall Lumafusion? I think I did because I ran out of space. I'll reinstall it. for now, because I did want to show K-Walk, so that while that reinstalls, do I have NDI? I don't think I have NDI neither. I don't have NDI. Let me see this. Let me see. Actually, can I do this? All right. So we're gonna plug this in, and it should show up as a camera on Ecamm. Hold on. Let me come back here. I just got to see the camera switcher. Hey. Just trying to get the iPad mini to show. Oh, I know what I did. Duh, because right before the stream, I turned off the iPad mini. So here's the iPad mini. Okay, good. So let's go back to this scene here. Good. And there's the iPad mini. All right, so now you're looking at the iPad mini. I have my pencil. Okay. I did download Lumafusion. And just so you can see kind of, yes, that's fine. So I don't have any projects because I deleted it because I was running out of space. But if I wanted to create a quick video, right, I can create a video really quick. It's definitely not going to be nowhere near as easy as the 12.9 inch iPad Pro, right? Or even an 11 inch iPad Pro. But I absolutely have used the iPad. Can I bring this down here? I think these are all downloading from the cloud. Yes, these are downloading from the cloud. But I absolutely have used the iPad mini to do, if let's say you're doing a short, let's say you're doing a reel. It does the job. The screen real estate, because remember, here's the thing. What I can show you is that, there you go. You can move your timeline around, right? So now if I wanted to move my timeline around, I don't need my clips on the side to be really big. This is getting cut off a little bit. Let me come over here. Hey. What's happening here? All right, I'm not going to keep messing with it because for whatever reason it's acting silly. But what I'm trying to say is that you can basically take your, and now my Apple Pencil died. You can take the timeline and just, okay, nothing's working with the iPad. That's all right. Nothing's working with the iPad today. That's no big deal. The mini at least. But you can, there you go. You can adjust the timeline on the iPad mini so that if you wanted to just have as much screen real estate for the file up here. Let me see, do I want to go to photos, all photos and videos? Can I bring this down? Everything is downloading from the cloud. So that I can't mess with that now. You can do it. You can get away with it. Would I recommend that to be your main device? No, I would not recommend that to, thank you, Paul. I would not recommend for it to be your iPad, you know, the iPad mini to be a main device. However, now think about it. If I come back over here, you have your 12.9 inch iPad. This is 8 inches. So if you were to get the 11 inch kind of, I saw that before, you saw Koa acting crazy. She's crazy. I saw before, Obbs had said that she sold her iPad, the 12.9, to get the 11 inch Air. That the 11 inch is, especially the newer Airs, are super powerful, that it'll be able to handle Lumafusion with no issues. And it's a fraction of the cost depending on which storage model you get. And you got to look at that stuff because get more storage. And so looking at the two, you might run into, Koa, what are you doing? Okay, no. Excuse me. Thanks. Go sit down. Appreciate it. So I wanted to show you that. We'll get back into the settings, but I did want to show you the size difference and how you kind of can maneuver around different things. All right, so let me just come back. Let me switch. So I got to turn NDI on over here. Let's turn this on. And let's switch to my iPad Pro. Okay, perfect. And let me turn on my confidence monitor back up there. Koa, you're gonna get put in the crate. Thanks. I don't have nothing for you. All right, so we were in the process of going over transitions, right? So we went, oh, I need my Apple Pencil, right? So we did this transition over here, in between, and then we have this where the purple is, and that's how you know you have a transition, because it's purple. Doc says Final Cut Pro is 8 hours worth of work at $25 an hour. I haven't made $25 an hour since freshman year. Right, exactly. But, you know, it's one of those things that it's worthwhile to learn, and that's why I have it. I just like kind of, this goes back to, Doc, you weren't here yesterday, but Kevin and I spoke about it because Paul did ask the question, why would you want to use Lumafusion over Final Cut Pro if you have both? So for me, when I use Final Cut Pro, it's really just to trim the fat of, I want to hang out, I want to sit on the sofa, and I have a video file that I know I need to get rid of all those ums and ahs and the pauses and when I'm trying to switch in between scenes. So I'll go ahead, and what I'll do is I'll take the iPad upstairs. I start the file editing from my hard drive. Excuse me. I start the file editing from my hard drive, right? Trim all the fat. If I know that I want to bring in a particular audio file, and I can bring in all the basics, I can do that from my bed. I can do that from the sofa. If I want to hang out in the backyard, I can do it just more for convenience. And then, dude, I don't want to play. And then when I want to do the heavy lifting, so I want to use a plugin, I want to do like really go through, get out from back there, and do the bigger things, then that's when I'll save it. And then I import it into Final Cut Pro and finish doing all the stuff from Final Cut Pro. Right? Doc says Lumafusion is dope for what we used to call offline edits, as IA just explained, and on the road. There you go. See, now I know the official name, offline edits. And then that's the other thing, also on the road. So if I'm at Angie's house, or if I'm traveling, or if let's say there's a file, let's say you know that you're going to travel and you're going to be in the airport for 3 or 4 hours, and you got something quick that you want to put together, you know that you're absolutely going to have easier access, and it's easier to carry around your iPad in your hand than a whole MacBook computer and editing that way. So just thinking about those circumstances, I started off with Lumafusion when I first started editing, and then I quickly moved to Final Cut Pro. And I still have a lot of learning to do in both, but I'd rather learn more of it in Final Cut Pro than what I would Lumafusion. And here's the thing, if you learn it in Final Cut Pro, you will already know it. It's gonna be backwards compatible to use in Lumafusion. So I would say learn in Final Cut and then kind of just use this as a backup. All right, so let's go back. So we can do some things here with the transitions. This transition here, it says 1.0. That's just telling me that it's one frame long, 1 second long. I just made that. Can I double click on this? I can't double click on it, but what I can do is I can make it longer, right? So, and not that you would want to do that, but now look at how long it takes for the transition to come through. If we hit play, it's going to go super slow, that transition, right? So if you wanted to bring that transition where I left this one the same exact length, and you can see the difference between the two that comes in, right? So I'm going to bring that back to where we were at. It's 1 second long. What's happening here? There you go. And now that's where the transition was. So I'm just going to bring in cross dissolves in between. Let me go back. All of these clips just for sake of time. Now here, what we can do is you can also copy and paste. So that one's highlighted. So we have that file, and I should be able to come over here and paste. Oh, I did it wrong. So let's come over here. So I have that highlighted. No, not the 3. Koa, stop. No, okay. So let me come back to this one, clip on my little clipboard. I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste, come over here and paste. Maybe it wasn't in the middle enough. Come back, paste that. Well, that's not working. So let me highlight that again, copy, then bring this over here and paste. Okay, so now I just did, just quick for sake of time, cross dissolves in between. And now you can see, and that's your generic corny transition that everyone has. All right, so let's go back. So let's say we want to now bring in some overlay titles. All right, so let's say I want to bring a start overlay title. You're going to click on this plus sign down over here, and you can see now you can do a few different things, right? So you can actually, if I wanted to edit a video and do a voiceover, I can actually do a voiceover for this video and by connecting, let's say, my Rode wireless goes. Let me let this dog upstairs because she's being crazy. Hold 1 second, please. Go. Get out of here. She's dying to go upstairs. All right. So I can connect my Rode wireless goes directly to my iPad. The iPad will see the microphone. I can hit record and it will record and do a voiceover using that option there. You can see we can add in a blank clip, a main title, or an overlay title. So what I want to do is I want to bring in an overlay title and drop my mic. What's happening here? All right. So let's bring in an overlay title, and then you can see here, it already gives me, right, like my text here. So if we highlight that, you can make that longer, you can make that shorter. So the default was 4 seconds. So I'm going to leave the default for now. And what we're going to do is to edit that, we're just going to double click on this. And now here you can have some options over here. So if I just want to do, let's say I want to put the name, right? I want to put Koa and Tyler on the road. Let's say I want to put on the road. I'm going to double click that. And now you can see on the right-hand side, it highlighted it. So I think because I have my Apple Pencil, yeah. So on the road, okay. So now we have that. You can do some things. Let's say you want to change the font. Return, no, darn it. Let's go back. Okay, so now we can take this and I can put this wherever I want. So let's say I want to put this down on the bottom. You can do a few different things. You see your transparency, you can change that, right? By your slider. Let's say I want to make this, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. For now, I'm going to leave it kind of that size. You can also choose the font. What I do like is that you can also bring in your own font to this. So if you have your own font set that you wanted to use all the time, you can download your own fonts. So I don't want that font. Let's go here. Okay, here we go. And so now you can see these are all the fonts. If I want to choose that there, you can change your color, right? Your face color. So if I wanted to have it red, you can customize all of that, right? You can also do like shadows and edges if you want. You see, so like you see there, if you, I mean, I would be very mindful and be very careful with that. I don't know if you would want to do that. Let's go back because I don't want to do that. I don't want. So we're just going to leave that. What else? If you wanted to have shadows, all of that good stuff, right? And then, no, what did I do here? So here you can move this around using your slider. So you can either move it around with the Apple Pencil this way, or you can, you know, kind of go like that and mess around with it there. What else is on here? Let's say, so now we have our plus here if you wanted to add in a shape or even an image. So you can choose a particular image. There's default images here. I don't want to use any of these default images, but hold on, because I thought there was a way. I don't bring in images that way. I feel like you can bring in your own image, but that's not something that I do because I wouldn't bring in an image this way. I would bring it in, not through this particular. So if I had an image, I would just bring it in kind of like as an overlay on the main line. So if let's say I wanted to bring in my own image, I need to delete that. I would go into my photos, and then from my photos, I would bring in, oh, that's the video. That's why. Oh, there it is. So now, can I drag this in? Yep. So now I brought in, right, my picture that way. And you can mess around with that, where if I wanted to bring this in much smaller and bring it in that way, right? So that's how I would bring in pictures. I wouldn't bring in my own pictures through there. Let's just undo this stuff. This girl. So I want to delete that image that I brought in. We're going to go back to this plain text. I'm going to delete that. So what you can see here, now I have two different layers, right? You can see the layer over here where it says on the road. Once I open that up, you can see that there's a trash can. If I wanted to delete that, I'm going to leave that. But then under it, you see it says empty. And when I click on that, there is the trash can. That just gets rid of it there. Here I have, what I do use here is the shapes option. So you can either bring in rectangles. So here you can kind of create your own lower third. A little bit of work. I wouldn't personally do that. I would just bring in a lower third through creating it through Canva, and the way we've all like done on different live streams, have your own default templates in Canva and then bring that in as an image overlay the way I just showed you as an image file. But if you wanted to do some of the work, you can do that here, right, where we can create our own overlay and mess around. What I've done with these is that I'm going to delete that shape. I have brought in arrows. So if you've watched like some of my videos where I want to point to something, I'll just bring in, let's say, kind of an arrow that way. And you have, these are all different shapes. I mean, they're kind of corny, but the only thing that I do use here are these type of arrows. So that if I wanted to, and I don't even like that there, but I'm not going to play, semantics. And so you can twist around. So if I wanted to bring attention to, let's say, Koa's face there, right? Again, you can change the color. You can do some customization. You can do whatever you want with that stuff. We're going to leave it white. Okay, that's fine. Same thing if you want to make it smaller, like knowing just all of that good stuff, you can move it around, make your size smaller. I usually, with any of that stuff, I don't even go into the sliders. I just go in and I take advantage with my Apple Pencil. It's just much easier to manipulate using the Apple Pencil kind of this way. And then I'll use my fingers if I did want to rotate. I got to make it a little bit bigger. And then rotate the file, accordingly. And then just come in and kind of go like that, right? What else is on here? So let's see, what time is it? All right, so we're coming up on an hour. What I do want to do is we're going to bring in a file. So now let's check this out. Let's double click this. And actually, I'm going to move this a little bit. So I want to move this file to just be right in the very beginning. I don't want it to be as soon as I start. And so I'm going to hit play. And now there you go. It came up. And then it'll pop off as soon as it's done. Okay, and there's your transition. We can go back. Come back over here, drag this. hit play, you see that there's going to be that transition there. There's going to be another transition. And that was a cross dissolve transition. So that went in fairly quick. There's another cross dissolve. So you saw that one. All right. So I want to bring in, let's say, that like, subscribe. You saw the smile. You saw that little smile. All right. So now let's check this out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to a screen share. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to go into Canva really quick. I think we went over this towards the beginning, but let's say we're going to create a design. And for right now, I am going to create, I'm just going to do a custom size 19 by 20, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in YouTube. I got to spell YouTube right first. And I think I need it to be elements. Do it again. Cool. So now you can see you have kind of like this video file here. You got some buttons. So you can bring some of these in this way if we want. So you see, let me see. What is this? Oh, that's an actual video. I don't want that. I'm going to show you guys with a chroma key because I know I've gotten it myself. What's this? What does this look like? No. I might have to go to my... Here we go. This is what I want to show you. Okay. So you see this is a green background. We're going to key this out. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, fill the whole screen. I'm going to take this video. Right? I want that subscribe there. And they have a few of those. See, here's another one. Does this one have sound? There's one that has sound. Play. All right, I'm not going to worry about that too much. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to download this. Download it. All right, so it's downloading. Oh. And then we're going to wrap up with this is going to be the last thing we go over tonight. And we'll finish some more. I'm just waiting for this to finish downloading. Doo-doo-doo. They have some really cool ones. I don't know if you guys knew that, but they have some really cool like little buttons that you can bring in. All right, so now this downloaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my downloads. And I'm going to share this with myself. AirDrop. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I don't know which iPad. Is it that iPad? Okay, good. That was that. That was the right iPad. All right, let's go back to the right scene. My NDI keeps turning off. Okay. Let's go over here. Good. So you can see here, here's the file. All right. So, and this saved. Good. That's saved in my photos. So we're going to go back to Lumafusion. And now I'm just going to go back, all photos, and that video now shows up, right? So all I did, I'm going to bring this back over here. All I did was I clicked on the upper right-hand corner over here, and you can see these. I have my photos, click on all photos, and it refreshed. This is the video file that we just did. I'm going to hit play. It shows you there's a grip description. I didn't even think of that, K-Walk. K-Walk, leave me alone. Yes, I can do that. Thank you, my good friend. Did I tell you that my dad used to yell at me because I would make things more complicated? Hush. Say nothing else. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this down, and let's say I want to bring this right over here. Hopefully Tyler's cute face will compel people to hit subscribe. So I'm going to bring this file over, and I'm going to bring this right here. All right, good. But now you see what that does is that because it's coming up kind of like a B-roll file, it's taking up my whole video. So no, don't, K-Walk, I'm going to yell at you. Don't stop apologizing. I love when you give me those good ideas because I do make things complicated. I need people to keep me in check. All right, so what we're going to do is now we're going to double click on this file. We want to chroma the green out because we want everything else to stay the same. So now what we're going to do is down here, on the bottom right, you have this where it looks like it's 2 boxes with a star in it. We're going to click on that. And now we have some options. So that's where you can kind of do like LUTs, or you can do color grading and things like that. You see here, you have some options for like, you see black and white, things like that. So we can kind of go through these. There's all of these. If you have some vignetting, X-ray, right? I don't use any of this stuff. But what we want to do is the little picture that looks like a key. Excuse me. Because it's chroma keying. And so they have different types of keying. So there's your blue screen, your green screen. You can see that there's different ones, blue sky, dark sky. Now check this out. It immediately recognized that it's a green screen. So if we take a look over here, all of these are green, right? Over these ways. But now this one over here, green screen, it actually made this black because what it's doing is that it's taking that, it's chroma keying the green out. And so that all we're going to see is that bottom. So I'm just going to click on that and boom. I don't like that one. That one's better. That's the one. And so it did what it's supposed to do. It chromed out and it made it transparent. So just using that quick file. And so, you know, that guy, Rob, he has his own plugin. He gives you that. But this was so much easier for me to get from Canva. You know that you can go ahead and customize it in Canva, bring in the file as an MP4 video, and then just going into Lumafusion or in Final Cut Pro and keying it out, much easier than doing it through a plugin that way. All right. So now we're going to go back to the beginning of this clip. So now we're at the beginning of the clip. I'm going to hit play because I want to see what that looks like. And so then what you can do is now let's say I don't like it right there. So we're just going to go back to, let's say, the middle. And I'm just going to click on this. And we got to click on frame and fit. So now with frame and fit, so right, we were in color and effects. I can't move it around. So I have to go back to the bottom left-hand corner, frame and fit. And now I can do some things. I can make this bigger. I can make it smaller. Right? So for now, I like this kind of there. And I'm just going to move this around and manipulate it so that it shows up. Let's say I do want to make it even smaller because I want to have it on the lower right-hand corner instead of on the middle. And that's all a preference thing. But if I wanted to have it, let's say on the lower right-hand corner, now let's go back to the beginning of that file, hit play, and now it shows up. If I wanted to go ahead and say, you know what, I do want it to be the whole size of the screen. Oh, that's the wrong one. Undo, undo. Let's go back. So we're going to click on, so you want to make sure, so the blue border shows you the file that you're on, right? So I'm clicked on that file, going to bring that back in, move this around, and I want it to take up actually the whole screen. Cool. And now let's go back to the beginning of the file, hit play, and see what that looks like. Okay. And so then if we want to see what this looks like now, full screen, double click, play, and see how that comes in. There's a little bit of the transition. There's the file that we chroma keyed, and you wouldn't know that this video file was greened out, right? And it was now an additional overlay. So we're going to leave that. And let's say you didn't want to have it. You wanted to make it longer. If you wanted to make it longer, you can do a few different things. So this video, because it's an MP4 video, I can't stretch this out to any longer. I can make it shorter, right? So if I wanted to make it shorter, but let's say you wanted to make it longer, all you're going to do is then I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to come to the end of this file, and then I'm just going to hit paste. Copy and paste. Okay. And now it copy and pasted the same settings. So if we hit play, it should look exactly the same. It's probably just going to pop out and pop back in. That's the only thing. And how you can work that around. So, right, it popped out and then it popped back in. So you got to be mindful of that. You can change that settings in Canva where you can make the video longer. If you wanted it to be 10 seconds instead of 8, you would have to just change it in Canva itself. And then that's pretty much it, right? So we showed bringing in an overlay title. We showed bringing transitions in. And then we showed bringing in kind of, you know, a call to action for this here. You can bring in any type of file like that and you are good to go. So I'm going to end it there. Tomorrow, because I want to spend a little bit more time doing that. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is if I bring this volume up, and actually what I want to do is I'm going to change the playthrough here so that it'll play through the iPad through Ecamm. And let's bring this volume down to 30. And bring this to the beginning. And let's just go. Oh, actually, you know what I did want to look at? I wanted to pay attention to the duration itself. So the duration is still good enough for the whole project is 51 seconds long. And you want to pay attention to that because what happens is that sometimes as you bring transitions in, the transition you see it added some seconds, right? Because now it's adding some files in between. You just want to pay attention to that stuff to just make sure that it come overlap and if you want to keep it like a reel. So this is still short enough. So now let's come in. Well, that didn't come in. Are you guys hearing it? I'm not hearing it. It's okay. So you see that's an extremely abrupt ending. So tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to work on a fade out for the music. And then we're going to add a fade to black overlay, a title, right? By hitting plus, we're going to do a blank clip here, right? So now you see I have a blank clip. And what I can do is now drag this over, right? But what that's going to do is that's going to just change. So we don't want it to kind of be that abrupt. It's a cut. We want to do a fade to black. So we're going to bring in a fade to black file. And then we're going to bring in the audio, have it come up. And then towards the end, so as we start to get fade to black, the audio is also going to fade out. So we'll work on that tomorrow as well. And that is what she wrote for this evening, you guys. I appreciate you guys. My mic does not appreciate me. That is for sure. My mic is so mean to me. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Always good when we hang out and we do what we do. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Here's this little meathead. I was gonna say something. Well, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Where is it? Camlink? There you go. She went upstairs to go get more toys. This is my life with this crazy dog. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate you guys. Man, hold on. I didn't even. Day 80. I move around. There you go. Day 89. No, why didn't it enter? There you go. 11 days to go. How crazy is that? I can't believe it. We are coming up on the tail end. That is it. I appreciate you. Thank you, K-Walk. Appreciate you guys. Yes, Paul. I love you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Purple Paisley. Glad to see you coming and hanging out with us. Very nice. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and be with us in the community. All right, we're gonna do what we do. We will be back tomorrow between 7 and 8. I have to go up north for a business meeting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which means I'll be sitting in traffic on the way back. But between 7 and 8, we will be back and we will be continuing the series tomorrow. Well, I do have the eCam on deck. I don't know, I gotta figure it out. We will talk, but I will be back for the next 11 days or the next 10 days. All right, you guys, peace out. I will catch you guys on the next one. Good night.